Hey, what's your problem? You have business problems? We have business solutions.
Not guaranteed.
Well, maybe.
Yeah,
Life is a fight.
It is.
In business, every day is a fight.
it can be.
So, hey, what's your problem?
Yes, thank you, John David Wells. Love that guy. Big voice guy for the program here on the What's Your Problem podcast. This is a podcast for business owners and professionals all around the Middle Tennessee area that contend with the notion of it's always something. Something's always kind of keeping you up, nudging you. What's next? You know, generally our lives are pretty good. But, you know, there's only one thing. You always like sleeping with one eye semi-open at night. This is a video and audio podcast. Check us out at whatsyourproblempodcast.com. It is there where you can pick your poison, where you can find the most ideal place to listen to us or even watch us. If you want to see my ugly mug do this on video,
It's
you
not
certainly
ugly.
can. You know, I appreciate that. Self-deprecating humor, you got to do it every now and then. I am your host, Jim McCarthy with Jim McCarthy Voiceovers, and that voice you hear is our guest today, Mr. Brother Paul Brown. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm great.
I mean, what an amazing experience and time we're going to have today. Brother Paul Brown is an American musician and Grammy-nominated keyboardist, producer, and composer, most associated for his work as a record producer and keyboardist, organist, with the Waterboys, among others, a whole host of other bands.
Yep.
You've worked with a lot of people. But first, of course, we're going to do something that we call... Get it going. Here we go. We like to get the juices flowing, the creative energy. And as I'm juggling here, because my life is one big juggle. That's my problem, Paul. Is that I'm constantly juggling and spinning plates.
Man, it looks like a good juggle, though, to me.
You know, I've tried to get away from it. It never works out when you try and focus on one thing. I got to do a million different things. All right, so
You ought to see me on a sit and spin for hours, man.
There you go, man. So we do something called the Random 5, brought to you by it'syourshow.co. That is essentially my company, where if you want a podcast like this, that's what we can do for you. Make it a video podcast, make sure it's syndicated out to all the right carriers and all that fun stuff, and make you look and sound as best as you possibly can. It'syourshow.co. All right, Brother Paul, here we go, because we're getting deep into this thing. You ready?
Yes, sir.
5 random questions. And this is a funny question. Okay. Number 1. What would an exact opposite of you be like? Completely energyless.
Just completely energies. It'd have all the fingers.
Have all the fingers. We'll get into that story too.
It'd have a Diet Coke instead of tea.
Okay. Random question completely. Here we go.
I love them.
What's your best podcast recommendation? Aside from this one, of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Are you a big podcast guy?
I'm not. I'm really not. But
What do you listen to? What do you like to listen to?
Spotify.
Spotify music?
Yep.
A lot of music?
Yeah.
Any particular...
CNN.
Really? CNN?
Yeah.
You marinate your mind in the politics and the news, huh?
Yeah. and then I hose it off with Spotify Spanish playlist. I don't understand any of the lyrics.
Nice. Okay, number 3, what happens more often than you'd like?
Weight.
Weight? Actual physical weight?
Actual physical weight, man.
I can agree with that one. Not on you, but on me.
It's feast or famine with me.
Really?
Man.
Is it a
dang.
tough thing?
Yeah, well, yeah, because when I get in these work, these work cycles, man, and it's like this video, especially in video world, man, I can go for like...
You got to stay in shape, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Planet Fitness.
I mean, I can hide all my fat beneath my desk here, and it's a top-down camera shot, for a reason. Makes it look. It's a good angle for me, right?
Man, well, I've got a lot tucked in.
Oh, I don't believe it. What are we on? Question 4? I can never count these things.
I thought it was 3.
Was
it exact opposite? Oh no, that was 3 we just did. Yeah, 4.
Yeah. So because it's question 4. What was something you loved but it never really took off or was ended before its time?
My finger.
That's a great answer. We'll just go with that. We'll make it quick. Question number 5. That's hilarious. Who would you want to play you in a movie about your life?
Oh man, Sammy Hagar.
Sammy Hagar?
Yeah.
He could be. I'm pretty sure he could act.
Yeah.
He could totally pull it off. I mean, I don't know if he's been in a keyboard player, make it look.
No, he could work. He
convincing.
could work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. There's the random 5 brought to you by it'syourshow.co, and we're going to get into it, starting with the finger story. I mean, you're a keyboardist. You know, you're one of these guys that's just made an impressive career out of what you do, but you've got 9 digits instead of 10.
Well, I got 9 3/4.
9 3/4.
And part of the
Isn't that like the Harry Potter thing?
it kind of is.
Yeah.
Kind of creepy, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it still works out. It feels like it's about half asleep, but I can't play guitar. You know, as a matter of fact, on the 4th question, I could have just said either my finger or guitar.
So you were a guitarist at one point too?
Yeah, I could live under a guitar cabinet.
Really?
Oh man, I love a guitar junkie.
No kidding.
Yeah, man.
And you can't play it whatsoever?
Well,
I mean, a
it
little.
just feels weird because it's my left hand, so it'd be my chord hand.
Right.
So as long as I don't use that, that finger, it's next to the pinky. What would that be called?
The ring finger. I guess.
Ring finger. Yeah, and it feels so weird that I just don't have any. I just rather watch somebody great play.
Oh, really? That's nuts. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you started out, I was reading that it was kind of a long process to, I guess with anything, if you're going to do something in the creative arts, music, acting, anything like that, it's going to take a while for it to really start to feel like you're getting some traction. So, I mean, in the early 90s, it looked like you started to, all right, I'm here. I know what to kind of getting going. Tell me the story.
90 was a big deal for me. Yeah, it sure was, because well, first of all, I was bound and determined to be a rock singer.
Yeah.
And I don't have a rock singer voice, man.
You got some voice. I mean,
I do. Yeah. No, I can sing background for days, but I was trying my best, man. And I had a band called Big Life. It was, and we were cutting stuff, and then and then I actually had all my keyboards off stage, and I had this cat running little sequences and stuff, you know, but I didn't gravitate, so thankfully keyboards really just saved my butt, man.
Were you always adept at playing them? Was it something you did since a kid?
Yeah.
Really?
It was always a part of me. In a school for the homeless, that's where I started, and it was, and that at that time it really pulled me through. It saved my life in a lot of ways. So I ended up getting a soul gig, man, and with Shirley Brown from Stax.
Right.
And all of a sudden, my whole musical life changed, and that was at the moment I got introduced to the Hammond B3 organ, and all of a sudden, everything just everything started changing, and I found that I was able to keep rock incorporated in everything that I was doing anyway.
The B3 lays such a foundation for the right songs. I played with a B3 up in Michigan. My brother had me fly up to play a church service with him where we played Angry Young Man by Billy Joel.
Yeah.
My brother's a keyboardist as well. He's been playing since he's 6. So we went up, we performed it. You can find it on YouTube. And one of the guys has got the Hammond B3. And oh my gosh, what an experience.
Yeah.
It's such a cool sound.
It just became an extension of my soul.
Yeah.
And still is. And the thing I love about, because this is all in Memphis, all the basic roots of my playing, my soul, the soul of my playing all come from Memphis.
Right.
And I moved to Nashville in 2006 to play with the blues guy, Stacy Mitchhart.
Right.
Great guy. I love him. And so I found myself being able to bring all the soul from Memphis to Nashville. So
Yeah.
now when I do just tons of sessions on Hammond B3, but in this, the band, the Waterboys, the same thing. They're based out of Ireland and Scotland and London, but I get to bring all this Memphis soul on Hammond B3 to this group.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
great.
and it's so distinctly different. The Memphis sound, the Nashville sound. Now even we watched a documentary a couple of 2 months ago on Muscle Shoals. Oh my!
Oh,
I had no
yeah.
idea. I had no idea. Completely, and even my brother, who's we're both been in music since. Gosh, I mean, I've been a drummer since I was 11 years old. He's played since he's 6, and I said, "Have you ever realized how much music, how many hits came out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama?"
Yeah.
He had no idea. And we consider ourselves to be pretty knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I mean, I came up in frickin' music radio for crying out loud. I should know these things.
Yeah, I did. Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I didn't have that much of a clue either.
Right.
And then the first Waterboys album that I recorded with them, David Hoods from the Swampers was on bass.
Right.
And then he ended up doing the whole tour. David hadn't toured since Traffic in 1972.
Right.
And he toured with us for 2 years.
You want to hear ignorance? I had no idea that the Swampers were being referenced in Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, wow.
None. You know that they're referenced. In that song.
Yeah, right.
No idea. Muscle Shoals has got the Swampers.
Right.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh,
Yeah. Well,
okay, that makes sense.
To be fair, for the longest time, I thought they were talking about background singers.
I thought they were talking about just, maybe they were loggers
People-
or something.
yeah.
I mean, just part of the community.
Or fish catchers in a swamp.
idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
I've never felt more stupid in my life.
I didn't either until 2013 when I met David. And then I found out what a swamper was.
I mean, you're basically the Swampers are the equivalent of the Wrecking Crew. That was
Yes.
in the 60s and 70s
Yeah.
in LA that recorded.
The high rhythm section in Memphis.
There you go.
All Al Green, all that. Yeah.
Or the Three Kings here in Nashville, which is Redmond and Tully Kennedy and Kurt from the Aldine Band.
Oh my God, man! Don't get me started.
They were going to try to get that going for themselves.
Were
a
they?
couple years ago? Yeah.
Man, they're my heroes on so many levels.
Well, I mean, when did you realize, okay, what I'm doing is starting to work? What was the gig that made you kind of? I mean, was there something like that made you just kind of go, yeah, I've picked the right thing?
Yeah, it was actually a couple of 3 soul artists into my career. First was Shirley Brown. The second was Jay Black. No, actually, it wasn't. It was Jay Blackfoot, Shirley Brown, and then Ann Peebles,
Right.
who wrote the classic "I Can't Stand the Rain." And when I got with her and we started writing together, and then we were touring together, and we were doing all these amazing festivals all over the world, was to me, that's what's like, okay, I'm really on the right track. This is really working.
And this is in the 90s, you said, right around that time?
Sure was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you've been hammering at it for 15 years.
It was 92, yeah. And then when Shirley and Jay were 90 and 91, and then before that, I was in the Bar-Kays, man, for a minute. Yeah. And so I had all this whole funk thing going on. There's 2 bands in Memphis, Xavion and the Bar-Kays, man. And they were like this rock funk and then pure funk.
Yeah.
And so, that was more synthetic stuff. And that was, I would say, 89.
Right.
And but when there was a lot of fluctuation. So when I got with Ann, it's like it felt so solid and so long term, man. It's like I knew.
Yeah. This was I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
But I mean, just the fortitude, the mental, fortitude. I mean, that's the word to persist through those years. I mean, I tell any business owner, some people, I kind of equate this when I was in the car business, right? 6 months in, it felt like a lifetime. And you're wondering, did I make the right decision here?
Yeah.
I have no idea. There's so many business owners in general out there that get into year 5. And I always tell people, you got to give it 5 years. You're going to eat crap. You're going to eat dirt for 5 years. Guaranteed. I said, good for you if you can shorten that time amount, but count on 5 years.
Yeah.
Here you are. You're starting a business. It's Brother Paul Brown Inc. 15 years in. I mean, those first couple of years, the first half decades that you were doing this. What was it like going?
I lived in every park in Memphis, Jim.
Right,
Oh man, every park in Memphis at one time or the other. I worked on the river.
Right.
And I was in one of the biggest tugboat wrecks in tugboat history.
Really?
Yeah, no kidding, on the Mississippi River.
Why is that not in your wiki? Is it? That should be.
Yeah, well, it's kind of an undercurrent,
Right.
and it only comes out when I tell the story.
And it's so amazing to hear. I had no idea.
Yeah, man. I could have become a captain. I mean, there was a time just before I left that the captains would pull me up because I was what's called a deckhand or a mate.
Yeah.
And we were loading crude oil barges now up and down the Mississippi River. And I was there for about 2.5, 3 years. And by the time that I left, the captains were having me come up and steer the boat through Baton Rouge, Louisiana, while they went down and went and hung out, and I still remember having Donald Fagen's, just blasting the Night Fly,
Yeah.
on the sound system and just in the middle of the night, just, steering the boats. And
That's got to be a spiritual experience. My goodness. I mean, you're on a legendary river, Old Man Riv. I have some friends down in Baton Rouge that I always kind of joke around. And they're locals, and I go, "So you call that Big Riv, the Old Man Riv?" And they're like, "No, it's just the Mississippi." I'm like, if I lived down here, I'd call it Big Riv.
I always said, man, if I don't ever do music again, I'd like to go back on the river because it's really true. They say once it's in your blood, man, it's there. And I can't. When I see a tugboat or I pass by a river, I always feel that
Nostalgia. Right?
Yeah, and that love for it, the love for that life, for the just for the serenity. It's just something about that, man. It's so amazing. But towards the end of my run, we were going through St. Louis, and we actually hit a bridge, and caught the first 3 boats on fire.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And thankfully they were full, so it didn't. If they would have been empty, they would have just exploded,
Right.
and then we would have all been toast.
Right.
But thankfully they just caught on fire, and the only one that didn't was the one on the boat, the one closest to the boat. So they had broken off, and we had gotten them off with our just got the winch wires off, and so we were floating down with this one barge that has a hole in it.
Oh my gosh.
So now all of a sudden the boat is topping into all these and it's bogging down because there's so much smoke. There's no oxygen.
Yeah.
So anyway, we barely made it out. And after that, I asked for a leave of absence, and they wouldn't give me one, so I quit. And then 3 months later, that same boat ran. You know what a lock is, where they raise and lower the river level so you can pass through.
Yeah.
The boat hit a lock and killed 3 deckhands and the cook. And that was the boat that I would have been on.
Oh my gosh. So basically, I mean, if it hits a lock, is it just kind of hitting it dead on, and
it did. And
the sudden stop is what can be
right. And then it just, when it hit, blew a hole in it and the bar, and then it just sunk.
So you're on a river. I mean, you can legitimately, I guess, if you needed to, jump in the river and swim to shore. I mean, it's not too far away.
Well,
right?
the problem is the currents are so crazy on the Mississippi. Right. It's just brutal, man. Yeah. And undertows and all that can just suck you right under. And, you have your life vest.
Yeah.
And it also depends on the weather too,
Yeah.
Because in the winter, man, the waters are so freezing.
There is so many. I mean, and there's something about that river. I've lived next to the Hudson River most of my life, or near it. That's a huge river, but it's nothing like the length of the Mississippi, right? And then to be next to the Mississippi during one trip to Baton Rouge with my son, I'm like, hey, we got all our work done. Let's go to stand next to this thing, because it's one of the most iconic American, just so much history there,
Yeah.
And we just, watched some boats go by, had an experience, and it's like the amount of this history flowing down this river. So
Yeah.
you used to get in the Baton Rouge area and have to take it out through New Orleans.
I went
and
all
stuff?
the way down to
That's
down,
a lot of curves, man.
all the way down, man. Yeah,
That's the curviest part of the river,
to
right?
down to Mobile. I mean, we went all the way down just before it turns into the ocean.
Really?
Yeah, we would go all the way.
Does
yeah.
it go out to Mobile?
Yeah.
I thought it like basically just kind of brings you out to the Gulf, out of Louisiana area.
No, we went to Mobile. Yeah.
Wow. I had no idea. I had no
Yeah.
idea. I would love to take a cruise up and down that river.
You should, man. And then they have those Mississippi boat, like the paddle wheels that
Yeah.
kind of look like paddle wheels, but they're actually cruise ships.
Yeah.
Should do that, man.
Yeah, you see the cruise ships, you can get them in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And you get on a cruise ship and it takes you right out.
That's right.
So I'm at Port of New Orleans, I guess.
Yeah, but just to go down to get on like one of the looks like an old steamer and do the cruise down the Mississippi.
Yeah.
So near
Where does that begin, though? Up north?
I think in Memphis. I think
Really?
you can catch one in Memphis and then just go down towards. You have to Google this because I'm not 100% sure what's changed, especially since COVID. And but yeah, well, you could catch one in Memphis and go all the way down to Louisiana.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're going to Gulf Shores next week. And my wife brought up, she goes, New Orleans is only about 3 hours away. I'm going, I've been through New Orleans. For some reason, I'm fascinated with that whole part of the country.
Yeah.
A city that's below sea level. You could stand on the streets and look up at the ships passing you. You know what I mean? With the bank of the Mississippi. That there's, so many just millions, billions of gallons of water that are above you.
Yeah.
Gosh.
If
it
you're
is
3
stupefying.
hours away, Jim, do it.
Yeah.
I mean, man, 3 hours away, man. Call it a day. For the
Go to Cafe Du Monde in the French Quarter.
Yeah, please, man, do that, man. I'll be looking for a report back on it.
We'll put some pictures up on Facebook. So, I mean, here you are. You're traveling. I had no idea that. That's an amazing story of you just traveling the Mississippi River,
Yeah.
having that spiritual experience. It feeds into your musicality. Did you have any instrumentation on the boats with you?
That's funny you should ask. When I got on that boat, man, I had one harmonica.
Really?
I was that broke. I had been living in parks. My older brother, Pete, was the one that actually got me on the boat. What I had to do, though, is I had to call every 2 weeks, man. And I did this for about a year until I was so pestering
Right. Persistence.
Persistent. But he said, that's what you have to do. He said the only way you're going to you got to show them, man, that and you got to call every week or every 2 weeks. And I did, and finally I did. And when I got on the boat, I had one harmonica. By the time I left there, it took me 3 trips to get on and off that boat, man, with all the musical equipment I had acquired.
Oh, so you built up your arsenal.
Oh my God!
Really?
Yeah. I had a 1973 Flying V, man. It was amazing, and keyboards and amps, and it took me 3 trips, man, to get back and forth to actually get my stuff on the boat.
I
And-
find that fascinating.
but it was so much fun because everybody was in on it. Like a lot of times, man, the deckhands would be they played or whatever. We'd have these jam sessions. It was so
Nice.
much fun.
So
yeah.
you're on a boat, you can set up, and the people on the shores can hear you going
That's
by.
right.
That's awesome. What an amazing experience.
Yeah, and in the wheelhouse, of course, they had those mics that go through the big megaphone thing at the top, and so in the middle of the night, I'd be playing harmonic, and you could hear it through the bullhorn at the top, and it sounded so cool, man.
Yeah.
It sounded like an Aerosmith record.
Really? An Aerosmith record. That's great. So, I mean, you're going down the river, you're doing all this thing, you're adding to your musicality. Was this in your mind the plan B, and plan A was still to be doing what you're doing now? Or
Yeah, plan A was always to find a way to do what I was doing.
Right.
To do what I do now. And then when I left, man, it plummeted all over again, man.
Really?
I went through I did so many things. I, worked at all night Exxon gas stations. I worked Mr. Pride car wash.
Right.
You know, like I did everything. But then I landed a job. There was one at the car wash that I worked. I think the car wash was the last regular gig that I had. But right around the corner from the car wash, they had a music store. And what I would do is after I'd get off I'd just go in the music store for as long as they would let me play and just noodle and play, you know, and they had a keyboard room and the owners were noticing so many kids were watching me and their parents were coming. So they offered me a gig teaching.
Nice.
And I've never taught. I mean, I had so like near zero theory.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll just teach you what I know.
Yeah. Just and so so what I did is, and it really, in a huge way, it made such an impact on my arranging and scoring and writing, because while I was teaching all these little kids all these techniques that I just, you know, made up on my own, I was reading all these books on theory, and so I was able to start writing notes and teaching them that, you know, along the way. So I was learning while I was teaching them.
Yeah.
And it was huge, man. And
there is a phenomenon to that where every time you get into a teaching role, you yourself are often your biggest student.
yes,
Right?
yeah,
Same thing with voiceover. When I'm teaching my clients, you know, we're doing voiceover coaching, things of that nature. I'll start talking about stuff because I believe that creativity begets creativity. So once you start flowing with the conversation, you never know what an idea will just pop in your head, because all of a sudden you're open to receive.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens all the time. All of a sudden I'll spew out some sort of an idea with a student. I'm like, that's a really good idea. I should do that. You know,
yeah.
it's amazing.
I can't tell you how many times that happened to me.
Right.
Like, I'm using this. And it was so beautiful. I was like feeding them and feeding myself at the same time, and it was great. And at the end of it, it went such a long way to me becoming, when I ended up with Ann Peebles and became her musical director. All of a sudden, I was writing all these horn charts for all these music. So along the way, it just instilled so much theory that really made it so much of an easier hill to climb when I got into the world of arranging and doing charts,
Right.
especially musical chart. This is not Nashville's number system, but this is like note charts.
Orchestration.
Real orchestration.
Yeah, actual notation.
Yeah.
And that's something that, you know, a lot of people like myself, I'm a drummer, not to the extent of being able to read like our friend Mr. Rich Redmond, but I mean, I can't do any of that stuff. I've just never, I could listen to a song and be able to play it back pretty much rote, you know, verbatim, if you will.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, maybe not the bass drum patterns shift up here and I do my own thing, but I mean, Rich would tell me, he says, yeah, I actually if we had to cover a song, I would actually mimic and copy the bass drum pattern of the original drummer. And I'm going, yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I'm just,
Yeah.
I you know, we're going to milk it to a certain extent, you know?
Well, you know what? I can't sit down and play. You can't put a sheet of music in front of me and
Yeah.
I can play it. I can read it and know what it is, but I can't read it fast enough to where I could just
To
play.
sight read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can write it for days, and I know, yeah.
So if you see a piece of music, you can hear it in your head.
Yes.
while you're, wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're doing it for multi-instruments.
Yeah.
Horn sections,
Horns,
strings. Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All from
Absolutely.
just teaching kids.
Yeah. Well, not all from trees.
Or starting. That was the
starting. It
catalyst.
was the
Yeah.
starting point. Yeah. There was a point where we were going to do a tour with Ann. Didn't happen.
Right.
We were going to do this tour with Ann with a live string section. So we had 6 horns, and we were going to do like 8-piece string section. And so I really didn't know any. I didn't know that much about. I didn't know where string relations were in terms of charts.
Yeah.
And I had some horn. I could write horn charts, but I had really no clue about strings. So one of my dear friends, James Mitchell, who was Willie Mitchell's brother, and Willie Mitchell, of course, was the producer for High Records that produced all the Al Green and Ann Peebles stuff. Well, his brother was a baritone sax player, but he was also the guy who wrote all those amazing string parts for like those beautiful Al Green records. And well, I was living downtown in Memphis, and he was working at an all-night guards mart. He was a guard, security guard for a building that was just down the street from my apartment. So what I did, every night after I would go play on Beale Street, and after my gig, I would go hang out with him, and I'd take all these score sheets and pencils, and he would show me how he wrote those parts and why he wrote a lot different from normal writers. Like, he would voice the cellos in a weird place that you would normally, place them in relation to the other strings, but it's what made the Al Green's records and what made all those High records sound so unique in terms of their string arrangement. So that was how I was going to prep myself to write these string parts that I was hearing in my head for this tour. And I did that for about a year. And also what I did is I had remember how when you were just a tiny kid, how you learned your ABCs and you would write A's forever and B's. And
I should have spent more time on that, but yes.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I can't. I can't draw stickmen. Yeah. But what I did is I did notes, eighth notes, whole notes, staffs, flags, rest. There are miles of score sheets with nothing but little notes. I still have them.
Yeah.
And not all of them, but they have all these just notes and staff, and all of a sudden, before I knew it, I was just writing really legible notation.
Yeah.
And so by the time that we were really ready to put the tour together, I had the whole show scored out for 6 strings, 6 horns, and 8 strings. It was, and then the tour fell apart because the budget didn't work.
But at least you got that experience under your belt.
Man, it carried me so long. It carried me so far. But even now, like when I arrange stuff and when I write string parts or when I do I'm always going back to those nights with hanging out with James Mitchell. It's amazing.
It's amazing to me because, like, as I do these podcast episodes, I kind of formulate what the headline is going to look like and the summary of what the episode is about. And for me, it's like you never know why a certain situation didn't work out until you get 25,000 feet away from it.
That's
the 25,000 foot view, right?
Yeah.
At the time you're at 500 feet off the ground, you're looking at it with, your hand on your face kind of thing. But until you put some time behind you, all of a sudden, that must have been devastating to hear that the tour fell apart, right?
Yeah.
You were counting on it. You put so much work and blood, sweat, and tears into it, but all of a sudden you've got this wealth of experience. Now I can do this for another show.
And Jim, I was always, what has got me so far is I had this ability to always take a terrible situation and look at the bright side.
Beautiful.
Always, man. As soon as the tour didn't happen, man, I just said to myself, think about what you've got. Think about it now. Look at all these score sheets and know that you'll be able to use them someday for something.
Did you have that always when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I had it. I didn't have it. I had it in the homeless school.
Right. Just looking at finding the one positive thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It really, And there were so many devastating times, man, within the homeless school that I was in, which was actually here in Nashville.
Right.
And so, and I wet the bed. That was the first thing I had going against me. And, and so there were.
This wasn't last week or anything, was it?
No, man. Let me check.
Sorry, I had to.
Man, no, it's all good. No, that stopped as weird as it started. I mean, like, it just, one day it just stopped. There was no, I had tried taking pills for it. They get all these remedies. They try, throwing at one point in the homeless school, they threw my mattress out of the window of the second story in front of all the students that were walking by our dorm to go to school.
And how old were
breakfast.
you at that time?
Probably 13, 14.
Okay, yeah, very impressionable.
Yeah. So, but it was during that time that I developed this innate ability to take any bad situation like that. Like when she threw my mattress out, I was like, well, I get to go to the auditorium and practice later. So
Right.
I'm going to do that. And I've got a band, and through every setback in my life, I've always been able to do that.
And just find the gold.
Just find the gold, man.
And that's I guess there's the answer to your perseverance.
Yeah.
It is, you got to have some sort of, one thing to hope on, and
Yeah.
you find it and you hope on it.
Yeah.
I have
mean-
those kinds of conversations with my kids.
Really?
My son, a couple of weeks ago, was first day of school, and we drove by. He was going to the high school for the first time, being in ninth grade. And we drove past the middle school where he spent the last 3 years of his life. And it was not a good experience for him. I mean, middle school is tough for anybody, as you well know.
Oh,
right?
yeah, man.
So we're driving past, and he's like, I'm so glad I'm going to the high school. I said, good, good. He's like, I hate this place. I said, Spencer, I want you to say, because he said like 2 or 3 negative comments in a row. I said, I want you to say something positive now. Just find something. What do you have to look forward to? And he started, they all cajole me because I'm like this. And I say, you got to find the positive, man. You got to marinate your mind in good stuff.
Yeah.
I said, everything in life is mindset.
Yeah.
And having good thoughts. I said, so now find the one thing. I want you to find a positive about today, even though the day is new. It's the beginning of the day. And he goes, my sister's going to meet me at the high school and show me around. I said, dude, beautiful. Perfect. Go with that, dude.
That's great.
I said, because everything's got a positive to it.
It does.
You just got to find it.
It does.
You get a letter in the mail from the IRS. Maybe you'll make friends with somebody. I don't know. I mean, maybe the agent will be cool. I don't know. Hey, you know.
When I get those letters, I just go, I got more gigs. Yay.
We have decided to change your tax return from 2020, and you owe money now because we've decided arbitrarily to change things. And now we're letting you know, and now we want to get paid. So with that being said, I'm going to say, let's see where we are here. There we go. Mr. Brother Paul Brown. I keep it going. I always call people Mr., but your official title is Brother. I'm going to call you Brother.
Thank you.
I don't know if you have any problems. You have any things that you kind of deal with that you kind of sort through in your business of everyday musicianship?
By the way, that sounds like something Rich would play. That's crazy awesome music, man.
That was actually sung by some friends of mine. I had them do some gang vocals. And
No way.
I produced it up with the some sort of game show music that apparently is what I'm using.
That's awesome.
But it's a karaoke track, and I think I'm licensed for it, maybe. But I use it for 10 seconds sparingly.
Well, then as long as you do it under the 10-second.
Yeah, I think that's the
10-second rule.
I think that's the rule, right? I don't know exactly.
I'm
sure.
going with that.
Yeah, we'll just put it there.
I think as a business owner, I think the thing that I see the most that that I find challenging is just the streaming world.
Right.
And this is as